I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm ready.
We're live, everybody. Sorry for the wait, but
Rock
uh,
and roll. Yeah.
yeah, when it's live, this is what usually happens.
Things
But
happen. Things. Right, right.
but welcome to. Can you hear that? Yeah, okay. Oh, what just happened? Everyone disappeared from the
Oh, yeah.
screen. Oh, this is funny. Okay, I'm just positioning Ben. Okay, I see that everyone's here. So, hi, I'm Shueh-li Ong, and my guests are Andre Cholmondeley and Ben Travers, and we're playing Yay or Okay. I actually had a little soundbite created for Yay or Okay, but it doesn't seem to be working. Let me try again.
Yay or okay.
Yeah, kind of worked. Anyway, Ben and Andre are going on tour very soon. Give us a quick summary of what it's about, who it's with, and what you'll be up to.
Sure. Should I start?
Yeah, Andre, you start.
Um, let's go with age before wisdom. Um, well, we happen to both work for the same artist. We're both going on tour. We're often on tour separately somewhere, so this is going to be interesting. But we work for the artist Pat Metheny, of course. You know, known nominally as a jazz guitarist, but anyone who's a fan knows that he's really just a eclectic musician. So it's jazz, it's blues, it's noise, it's avant-garde, it's electronic music, it's experimental music. So that's what's happening. Working with that artist, playing stuff from really his entire 45-year career plus. And then it's going to be in Europe. So that's the interesting thing,
Oh,
too. We play, I think, about a dozen countries in Europe if everything works out fine. We're all a little nervous because Europe going through not only the numbers, but of course, a war. So
hmm.
we're kind of watching that closely. We actually start the tour in Eastern Europe, in
Wow.
Czech Republic, and then we end
Yeah.
up in Poland. So that's what's coming up. Yeah, and I'll be taking care of guitars and guitar technology, and I'll let Ben jump in and talk about what he's doing and where he's going.
Same with Andre. We're going to be touring together with Pat Metheny coming up. I'm about to leave this Thursday with the band Twiddle. We have a spring tour coming up, so I'm on the road with them for the first 8 or 9 gigs of their run, and then hopping off and joining Andre for some tech rehearsals, and then we're leaving at the end of April for our 2 month Europe tour. Andre was the keyboard tech and now has taken the role as guitar tech, like he said, and I'm taking over the keyboard tech role,
Ooh.
which is a little bit new for me, but not out of my wheelhouse. And I have done that with a few other keyboardists before, but this is definitely a different vibe and different genre. I don't think with all the gigs that I've worked for, I don't think I've ever done a jazz gig or in that genre or around that kind of world. So it's going to be super interesting, and I'm just really stoked to just work with a different crew. And everyone's said great things about everyone, so I'm just kind of looking forward to that and traveling abroad, obviously.
Of course. I do have one question, being a curious person, both of you having done keyboard tagging before. What is the most important thing that you have to be prepared to do as a keyboard tag?
Hmm.
I guess it for me just depends on what the setup is. If
Mm.
it's a more analog setup, then it's really just knowing all of the troubleshooting that could happen or could occur. Like say with an organ and a Leslie
Mm.
during a gig. If it's more digital and/or the person is relying on MIDI controllers and laptops, like Andre and I both know from Eddie Jobson,
Oh,
you kind of
laptops,
have
yeah.
to know what to do with the oh shit moments and the workarounds when and if those moments happen, which they definitely do.
What's the worst thing that's happened to each of you? Oh, when I say worst, I mean one of those moments where you go, "Oh no, I hope I can get this done, cause I don't know what I'm doing," or whatever. But one of those moments.
Sure. Well, two-part answers. I concur with Ben. Just having a knowledge of, and this overlaps when I guitar tech too. Having a knowledge of the backup plan, like really
Oh.
knowing the system of your artist, and being able to know. Oh wait, if this goes wrong, we've got this. And to Ben's point, the more you've got something analog, something that just works right away, the safer you are. And I think the ultimate thing that's analog, and I just experienced this for the first time on 7 weeks of touring with Pat Metheny, is an actual piano. You know,
Ah.
there's a certain relaxation when there's a grand piano there, because you at least go, okay, if everything craps out, there's that will work. That will work. And you kind of go down the line there. Again with Eddie Jobson, it was the other end of the spectrum where 100% of his setup was main stage, was software. So
Ah.
you're kind of, even though it worked all the time in 3 continents that we did it, there's a nervousness in the back of your mind because you have no piano or Yamaha workstation or something that can.
or even the violin, you know.
Ah.
If that goes away, you lose everything. But you don't have any kind of backup. To answer your other half of the question, worst thing that happened to me in the keyboard teching gig, I accidentally kicked. It was very crowded. We were on the boat. Usually something wouldn't be near my feet. That's my excuse, but also my explanation. Very tight space on the boat. I can't believe we even fit where I was, and I kicked a little wall wart, a little power
Oh
supply that was
no.
that was powering one of those USB hubs. The USB hub in turn connected a bunch of
Oh.
switches and peripherals, and so for a couple minutes, Eddie turned around, going like, "What's?" You know, and I'm looking at the screens, everything's fine, but then I realized we had lost connection, but I'm lucky that that's the worst. Yeah, couple minutes of
My
downtime. Yeah.
heart would have jumped out of my mouth at that point.
Oh, it did.
Ben.
I don't know if I have really, just because I haven't had much experience in the keyboard checking world or things going awry, but there was a tour we had in Japan with UK, and we had Sonia sitting in on a couple tracks with Eddie,
Yeah.
and she walked out, and I forgot to turn her guitar wireless on. So she went out into the, onto the stage and was playing just as she just, was playing, thinking that everything was okay. But her guitar was not on. Her guitar was not live. Nobody was hearing it, and that was on me, obviously. And that was just one of those things where it's just like you have to remind yourself to really do that checklist and not rely on an artist to do anything, let alone turn their guitar on. So it was it was just one of those blunders. But for some reason, I feel like we redid the song
Oh.
like at the end or something because they were recording the whole night and they were going to put together this big DVD package or
Oh.
something. So I'm pretty sure they ended up doing the song again, but I can't remember. It was many years ago.
Boy, I'm not that trusting. I would have to turn on my own keyboard and my own laptop.
Sony was not that way that evening.
So anyway, you guys have been friends and colleagues for a long, long time, and have you toured primarily together on the no? Which were the tours that you worked together on again? Can't quite remember.
Well, I met Andre when I was working at a music venue in northeastern Pennsylvania when I was about 19. And when I left that music venue to continue my career on the road, Andre and I started our friendship and brothership, road dogship on the road with Project Object, his
Ah,
Frank Zappa tribute band.
got it.
So we started with that, and then it was, I think, with UK
That's
and
right.
Eddie Jobson solo stuff, and now with Pat Metheny.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
that's the
go.
history.
I think that's all the connections.
That's the you know we're always on the road separately, so it's all a blur. But I think that's yeah.
That's about
The people we've been on the road together with,
the main
um,
ones.
yeah,
But at least the last 10, 11 years with Project Object, that's
Ah,
always come in and out of our lives, whether, we're on the road or not. So,
cool. So
yeah.
you must think you know a lot about each other then, but do you really?
That's we'll find out. Yeah.
But do you really? Let's play yay or okay. So you know how this goes. You shall pick one item that you like more than the other from each pair that I call from various categories, e.g., eggs and bacon. Answer eggs, because you can't live without eggs. You could do without. You love bacon, but you can't do without eggs. So it's got to be eggs. You can give your
Uh,
answers
yeah,
simultaneously.
it works out both very well. So,
right, right. I live without both, but no, I know it's just a colloquialism. Yes. Um,
Okay, so you can give your answers simultaneously or you can wait for each other. They don't have to be the same answer, as you know. Uh, but it might be surprising for you to find out that what you thought about Ben or Andre was not true.
so you'll ask the questions and then we
I'll
wait
give,
or we yell out the answer.
yeah, you can yell out the answer. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll give
Right.
you the two options and you yell out the answer. Okay, let's begin. First
Okay.
category. Ready? Classic or trendy?
Classic.
trendy.
Woohoo! All right, next category. Purple or blue?
Purple.
Ooh, that's interesting. Why purple?
I love it.
Print.
It's my favorite color.
It's my favorite color too. Andre,
Oh
what did you
wow.
say?
Prints.
Prince.
Whenever I see the color purple, I go, oh, let's put some prints on. Or so it's a tribute to Prince. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go. All right, next category. Semi-weighted or plastic?
Semi-weighted.
Semi-weighted.
Why?
That's a
Well,
given.
that's actually a slightly tough one. It depends. If it's I'm sitting, next to a mini Moog, you gotta have those thin plastic keys, and I have other keyboards where you want it to
Mhm.
fly a little bit. Um, but in a pinch, if I had to pick one and get on a spaceship, yeah,
Yeah.
semi-weighted.
Same here. Desert Island pick would be like, a Wurlitzer 200 or a Rhodes that have semi-weighted keys and just gives that vibe back. It's not like you're just kind of pressing something down and it's doing ones and zeros. I like that. Got to hit that tine or that reed.
Yeah, I like semi-weighted because I can do my synth playing or I can do keyboard stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, hard to do keyboard stuff on plastic. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and the third option these days is the non, just a
Oh
flat
yeah.
surface, and it depends on the
Yeah.
keyboard, but sometimes, but there's a lot of that, and so you have a lot of hate there too. So, but
No hate allowed. Okay, next category. Golf or ping pong?
Well,
ping pong, ping pong, yeah, N-
Can you play ping pong, Andre?
I can. In fact, I'm snobby enough to call it table tennis,
Oh,
but
good. I
but
call it table tennis, but my American friends refer to it as ping pong, so I say
well, it's like football. The real name for the sport with the
it.
little black and white ball on the ground is football because more of us on Earth call it that. Oh, like 7 billion of us. But uh, you know, kind of lighthearted there. But yeah, I played it as a child and as a young person. I was a big racket. I'm not a sports guy at all, which anyone can tell from the beer guy. But I'm a racket sports guy. I love tennis. I
Oh,
got to get back out there and get healthy playing tennis. I love it.
yeah.
I'm due to play with a friend in the next couple weeks. Table tennis, badminton, and racquetball. I those are kind of the only sports I've played over the years. Yeah,
And
a little bit of football, like I said, but yeah. So
speaking of Prince, I think he plays a mean ping pong.
Prince?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay, okay.
There you go. Ben, are you a golfer then?
Yeah, I do golf. I'm more of a sporto. I play basketball all the time.
Oh.
I'm in a league actually as well, but
Cool.
I like playing golf, especially when we're on the road and we have some days off in some nice warmer climate states. It's a good thing just to go out with the crew and or like the band and just like hit some balls around.
Absolutely. All right, next category, 70s or 80s?
Ooh.
They're both good decades, I know.
80s. I'll go with 80s. Because you have the music of the 70s marbled into that, I guess. And if I went the other way, which is very tough, then I wouldn't have like The Cure and Tears for Fears and The Clash, and I wouldn't have the 80s, electronic music. I wouldn't have all the great Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, all the stuff that blew up in the 80s in like every genre. To me, the jazz, the fusion, the Alan Holdsworth and the Pat Metheny and we got to me, all the people that were doing something in the 70s just went to this next level. Joni Mitchell, all the fusion people, George Duke, Zappa's material from 70s, 80s for me. So 80s. Yep.
There you go. And Ben, you have nothing to say about the 80s?
No. I mean, well,
he said it all.
Well, no, 80s is definitely one of my favorite, music time periods, and especially with technology and synths and MIDI. I just think that it was a turning point, and computers were obviously, in their infancy, but they were starting to get used way more. So I definitely would, just saying what points Andre said, with the 80s, you're getting the 70s as well.
Cool. Next category, hip hop or disco?
Hip hop.
Hip hop?
Yeah.
Like, no doubt.
I love disco, and there's nothing wrong with a nice 4 on the floor disco beat. But really, nothing beats hip hop like when you're really in need of some hip hop.
I concur. And again, there's a smooth connection. I'm 57, so I kind of saw one become the other. I love disco like Ben. I mean, I was always confused. When I was 14, 15, 16, it was right when the disco sucks sort of thing. And I didn't get it. And there's a bunch of stuff packed into it about class and race and American views of who's making the music. Absolutely. And I know someone out there is going, don't inject race. Yeah, it has a lot to do with gay black people, gay and black people, and some gay black people were, and Latinos, Hispanics, Asians, were filling these discos and doing this music that wasn't guitar music. There's a thing there. So there was a lot of burning disco records, and all these rock stations had this angry kind of a thing. Wow. And I was puzzled as a 15-year-old because I was like, wait, I love Boogie Oogie Oogie and I love Alice Cooper. Like, it's all music. So having said that, the disco sucks era was very interesting. But then things morphed into hip hop. We had, obviously Sugar Hill Gang and some of these early groups, Curtis Blow. So I loved it all. But like Ben said, if I want to put something on, if I had to choose between those two, hip hop. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
There you go. Next category: percussion or strings?
Percussion.
Yeah.
No fiddling for you. R.
Tough questions again. I love strings, and I love the layering of a nice string patch or a sample or something. I do. I love Mellotron. I love that sound. But again, this is an interesting little game because if you go into a desert island, there's more you can do with a nice wide range of world percussion. So yeah.
And Ben, your answer is obvious.
I'm a drummer through and through, so I'll always pick percussion.
Okay, there you go. Next category: popcorn or chocolate?
Popcorn.
Neither for me.
Oh.
I can't eat popcorn, dietary restriction,
Oh.
but I also don't like chocolate, which always gets people all weird. But I've just never liked it. I appreciate it. I do like white chocolate, even though I know
Oh.
it's not chocolate. But I've just never craved chocolate. I've never really been like, oh, I can't wait to eat that dark chocolate, 92% cacao. I'm just never been that way.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sad.
But I know Andre loves chocolate.
I do. So it's funny because my brain went right to sitting in front of the TV watching a movie. Which wasn't necessarily the question, but again, a tough one. I do love good dark vegan chocolate, like just nothing in it but cacao, sugar, and whatever cherries or vanilla or something, or just straight up. But yeah,
I'm a dark chocolate
popcorn's
fan.
fine.
I love dark chocolate. I can't not have dark chocolate on a daily basis.
It's so good for you too. Yeah. Well, I'll switch my answer. I'll join you with some dark chocolate. There we go. Because I love caffeine. Caffeine's a thing in my life. Very recent. I started drinking coffee like in 2009, I think it was, which is well into my life. So I love, yeah.
Hey, they say tastes change, so. Alright, we're down to the last two categories. Here's the second last one, analog or digital?
But what a coincidence! Just when I went like that.
Wow.
Whew.
Make Noise must be really happy now in North Carolina. Asheville.
Broad question.
Tough one.
You know, I would say just because I'll go analog old school. Yeah.
I'm sitting next to a bunch of analog instruments. I've got, like I said, a mini Moog right here, and a split 8 sequential circuits. There's
an awesome digital console behind you.
See, that's the thing. I love the mix. I'm gonna go with digital only because again, we're thinking about stuck on a desert island or getting on a spaceship, and you have one choice. And here's my reason why: because in my lifetime, again, it's not always been this way, but I think we're now at the point. Some of this stuff, like starting with the Virus, I think the Virus synth. Wow, that's one of the warmest sounding synths, and it's digital. That's incredible. And if people don't know the Virus, check that out. The same guy who did the Kemper, I believe, did that, which also changes all the rules, right, on digital guitar. So I'm going to go with digital. And the other synth I'll mention that really changes your mind if you're a snob is the Hydra Synth. The ASM Hydra Synth. Wow. You can get some incredible, quote unquote, warmth, which is the thing associated with analog. But more than that, you can really get the very good filtering and so that's a tough one. But
you guys have mentioned desert islands, but I'm just wondering where I get my power supply from.
Solar.
Solar.
So you hope to be stranded, prepared with a solar charger.
Well, that's the thing. If I'm going to desert island, then let's assume that there's some prep time, and ocean energy, ocean machine.
Or you can have hydro energy, not just solar.
That's what I'm saying.
Or wind energy with make your own windmills.
All three, and
fire up a whole studio.
Yeah. Actually, the fourth source could be, I was just reading about this the other day, methane. So like all of your composted food and your things, your coconut husks and things that you're eating, you would make methane power also.
That's what a lot of these barbecue beets are made from, right? Compressed, fecal matter. You know what I'm talking about? These fire starters. Yeah. I don't know what you call them in America. Whoops. I've never started a barbecue in America, only in Australia. In Australia, we call them heat beets or fire starters. These.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
And I'm sorry, what are they? And they burn them for energy?
No, to start a barbecue.
Okay, heat beets. No, that's a. That's a cool
I don't
name, but
know what the American version is. I've never made a barbecue in America.
so they're are they charcoal looking kind of thing?
Yeah.
So maybe briquettes. We call them briquettes.
Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know,
All right,
but
last category. We move on from a desert island to the last category. This one will be a toughie. Shakespeare or musical?
musical.
Musical, yeah.
That's another tough
I
one because
definitely enjoy a nice sonnet, but I'll go with musical. You know, I'm not a big fan of musicals, but those two, I'll pick musical.
yeah, I a huge fan of musicals. Haven't read enough Shakespeare, but it's always wonderful. Hit a few things in school, and then I'd love to check that out. You know, in my life, go to some plays or something. But yeah, I love musicals. I grew up and we had on like Jesus Christ Superstar, and then
Oh.
like South Pacific, and you know, I saw The King and I actually saw Yul Brynner.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Wow.
my mom took me to
You
that.
Brenna did it on stage too, not just the movie?
Oh, on stage. It was very late in his life. I was young. I
Oh.
mean, I don't know what year it was, late 70s or early 80s. But I
Mm.
remember my mom explaining this is important because it's this guy and he's not well. And so he already had like
Oh.
cancer or whatever he had. So I remember, even though I didn't know who he was, I was like, okay, look, this is important. And later on, I appreciated it. But I love it, and I love the. Um, I just love musicals. It's funny because I was involved with a movie um, called Repo, the Genetic Opera. And I was just listening to
Oh.
it earlier, and I invite people to check that out. It's a
Ah.
movie, and it's a soundtrack. I'm not on the soundtrack, but I did the off-Broadway version for about 6 weeks in New York. But
Wow.
it's a musical, and it's a modern kind of horror
Mm.
opera musical thing.
Yeah.
Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction plays drums
Oh.
on it. Joan Jett's on the record, so it's a
Wow.
legit, really cool musical. And again, to your point, anything that's kind of rock musical, Rocky Horror, anything like that, I just love it. I love when there's a story with like, especially rock music. Um, so it's a funny question because I've been soaking in that. Also, Alice Cooper from the Inside, if
Uh,
anyone knows that record, I've been listening to that a ton, and his Welcome to My Nightmare, and both of those, and people don't think of Alice Cooper this way. It's a lot of musicals. He has a lot of concept albums, you know, where
yeah.
each song has this part of the story.
I love concept albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Do you
love.
know that? Do you know that one? Sorry to cut you off. Do you
Yeah,
know that one?
very,
Yeah.
very vaguely. I
Yeah.
love the whole idea of stories. I love listening to stories, and I love telling stories. So whenever I put an album together, each song is a mini story within the whole overall story. So if you listen to my albums and you go from song to song, you shouldn't expect the same style. You know, a lot of people are used to following a rock band because they like rock music, and every song in the on the album is a rock song. That's not how I write. Because I love the idea of a story unfolding, so
Sure.
the music should reflect that it's a different story.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Ben, what happened to you? Oh, there.
Sorry.
No, no worries. All right. We've come to the end of our game. I hope you had fun.
Oh, always fun to see you, Shirley, and always fun to see my brother Ben.
Yeah.
And this
Okay or okay.
this was different, you know. This was we always get on and talk about serious stuff sometimes, and
Yeah, it's
Ser-
good to break it up, break the monotony.
yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to do something that was more game-like, so we could all enjoy the the game.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about you. You're in Nashville right now, right? Because you go
Yeah,
back and forth. You're in Nashville.
I'm in
Oh,
Nashville right now. I'm working on my fifth album, which
okay.
is, I call it a concerto. Most of my viewers would know what I'm talking about. And I started writing it late 2017. And it was an adventure in the evolution of my theremin playing technique. Not just playing,
Wow.
but the style that I wanted to create to give my performance meaningful um, conversation. I don't know how else to say it. Because a lot of people, when they look at the theremin, they think it's a box with two antennas, and they think sci-fi, horror movies, and Russian scientists. But if they could remove the visuals and just listen to the voice, I would like people to say, what a beautiful voice it has. And an instrument has a beautiful voice because the performer is speaking through it, and the instrument is allowing the performer to move it,
Yeah.
if you know what I'm saying. So I wanted to work towards that, so that people would say, oh, the theremin, oh, what was that, a violin you were playing, or were you singing, or something like that, rather than what's that horrible noise you're making, or whatever, you know. So I had already been playing the theremin for a long time, but I wanted to take the next step to a point where I could develop a few techniques that I could use for articulation and phrasing and all that. So the concerto is made up of 8 major movements, and I've already finished tracking it and all that, and it's in the hands of Dean Parks, who's gonna put guitar on it.
Nice.
And I won't mention the other 2 musicians yet because I'm not sure if they're definite, but
Okay.
so far they seem to be, but they're on the road right now. So hopefully, I'm very excited about it because there's no singing on it. It's mainly theremin, synth playing, and tin whistle, and
Great. Okay.
it moves from like world fusion to jazz to rock to more esoteric productions, almost like soundtracks to whatever. Just nothing sound.
That sounds exciting, and yeah, love theremin. You know we do, and I didn't hear anything or see any video, but I just noticed that our friend Dorit Chrysler in New York just had a concert or something for the New York Theremin Society. Did you
Yeah.
check that out? Were you part
I
of that?
haven't checked the video out yet, but yeah, I know Dorit. We met in 2008, I believe, in Asheville. Moat Music had organized the Ether Music Fest, which is a gathering of international thereminists. So I first met
Wow.
her there. I've
Wow.
stayed in touch with her, but since I'm not on the East Coast, it's really hard to be a member of or gather with them. But I visited Rob Schwimmer, who's also used to be, I think he's still a member of or a co-founder of the New York Theremin Society. I visited him twice now. He's on my YouTube channel. He's a funny bloke. He's such a talented and funny bloke to boot. In that
Right.
he's got a lot of humor. I love his humor. And we always go for food. He's a foodie as well, and so am I.
That's great. Well, looking forward to hearing your new stuff. Yeah.
Thanks, Andre. All right, you.
When does that come out? When do
Um,
you think the release date?
I'm hoping end of the year, sometime or early next year. I'm hoping to do it in conjunction with a live concert, which means I'm hoping the 3 musicians that I picked to work on my concerto will also be available to play. The problem here would be to try and,
Stateside?
huh?
Would you do that concert stateside, or would it be in? Okay.
Yeah. But if, well, I've mentioned Dean. He's in LA though. The other 2 musicians are in Nashville. So if the 3 of us in Nashville, we still have a problem with Dean, unless we fly him to Nashville. But I'm considering somehow working on something that can tie us together remotely. There's so much technology out there that can make it possible. Maybe by the end of the year, synchronization and latency won't be an issue, but it might still be latency. Yeah,
Getting better all the time.
so that's a problem. If you're playing live remotely, you do need to hear each other in time to play in time.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing something that has no strict rhythm and no time signatures, just floats about and then nobody cares.
That's space music. Yes, that works. Doing that, but there are some techniques. Yeah, my friend Paul Bielatovich, the guy who plays guitar with Carl Palmer band.
Uh,
He's worked out some techniques using two computers and
oh.
doing some interesting stuff where he can play synced with someone across the ocean. So if you want
Oh.
to get some ideas, reach out to
Yeah.
him. He's got, and he literally plays live with the bass player who's in
Oh.
London. He's in New England,
Mm.
Massachusetts area, and they play live together. They play, but it involves two computers and
Oh.
some audio feeds.
I
Yeah,
might need to get his contact off you
yeah,
and get some answers. Yeah, that'll be very helpful to have a head start to plan. Thanks.
yeah.
I'm glad you asked and offered some ideas. I've been scratching my head. What do I do?
Yeah, there's some tricks. Yeah.
Okay, you guys. Thanks everyone for watching Yay and Okay and subscribing to my YouTube channel.
Yay or okay?
Yay or okay. Yay or okay.
Okay, yeah.
And thanks to my guests Andre Chomley and Ben Travers for being on Yay or Okay and playing Yay or Okay. We wish them all the best in the upcoming tour. Stay safe, stay well, be healthy, do some morning exercises, sleep
Yeah,
well.
no, absolutely. I get really healthy on tour. It's funny. But yeah, follow us. My social media is Guitar Tour. If anyone just puts at Guitar Tour in Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, actually, and I'm guitartour.net, and I'll be reporting from the tour. We tweeting and posting stuff on Instagram. So check that out. And Ben, what's your Insta? Is it just
My Insta is my name. It's Mr. Ben Travers at Mr. Ben Travers. So it's really hard to forget. But yeah, you can hit me up there, and I'll probably be doing the same as keeping everybody kind of in the loop once we get all dialed in.
I will find you guys on my Instagram.
Very cool. Awesome.
awesome?
And with that said, stay safe, travel well, be good to each other, and I'll see you soon. The two of you don't go away yet. I'm gonna do the outro, but I'll jump on Skype to chat
Okay.
with you a little bit. Okay.